Folks, welcome back into the 5 Keys to a Successful Retirement. It's Coach Pete here along with Zach Zager. Zach, this is the same situation nationwide in Austin as well as in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I am, and California, everywhere. People have these same problems and dilemmas. What are we going to do about long-term care? How are we going to pay for it?
Yeah.
What's the solution?
Well, a lot of people don't realize there's alternatives to long-term care insurance. When you tell somebody long-term care, do you have it? A lot of people have a very negative feeling towards that.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, it's expensive. Premiums can go up.
Can and will
usually.
Yeah,
can and will. And if you don't use it,
you lose
that
it.
money's gone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So the insurance industry's done a good job of figuring out some alternatives because no financial plan is secure or protected without some sort of long-term care.
Well, that could drain your everything you have put aside, the long-term care visit without a policy or without a payment plan.
Right.
And it comes out of your retirement plan. It'll wreck your retirement.
Well, it can drain your investments.
Yep.
And think about if you're married, your spouse. A lot of times they're going to have to dig into their savings to help pay if you don't have this insurance, which could affect the rest of their lifetime. They could change their lifestyle. And last is the family members. It's very noble to take care of your parents, but it's also emotionally and physically draining. And this is one that I actually firsthand. My dad had a financial planner. He was old school, didn't want to mix money and family, so I let him do their plan. And 2 years into retirement, he had a severe stroke, and here we are, and my mom is physically and emotionally drained.
So the planner that your dad had did not have a plan for it.
Not one time did he bring up the need for long-term care.
Wow, that's malpractice to me.
Yeah.
Because as we just said before we even brought your dad's story into the air, is that it could wreck a financial or retirement plan, one incident like that.
Right.
And it usually doesn't wreck the first person, it wrecks the second of the two spouses, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. It's one of those, when we look at long-term care insurance, we look at our bodies and we think we're invincible.
Yeah.
The older we get, but
I've been there.
think about when you were a kid, you're 18, 21 years old, how many decisions did you make when you look back on it and you're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, well, that's how you learn, I guess.
Well, that's my concern
is
what's going to happen in 20 years from now.
Right.
When you look back at this time when you could purchase this kind of insurance. And you might be thinking, a lot of people are going to be out there thinking, what was I thinking? Why didn't I get this?
Now, so that's another good point here. So people can buy a long-term care policy, and I've seen those over the 30 years I've been in this financial arena, and I really haven't seen many long-term care policies, or I haven't seen any. I would put my own money in, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then here's another rumor that I hear. People say, well, Medicare will cover my long-term care stay.
Yeah, very limited
Very
coverage.
limited, not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, right?
Right.
Just maybe 90 days or such like that. I mean, not something that you can build a plan around, in other words.
Right, people think of Medicare, and that's if you have a heart attack, cancer, diabetic, things like that. But just doing daily things around the house, like dressing yourself, bathing yourself,
so
things
many
like
expenses
that.
Pop up.
No one's going to cover that but your investments if you don't have this insurance.
So, I don't like traditional long-term care policies. Most people can't self-insure. In other words, have millions of dollars just put aside to pay for the long-term care visits and the stay and all the activities of daily living, we call it. But you have a solution.
Right. There are investments, we call it the green bucket, that are specifically built for retirement. And we can generate a guaranteed income stream. And a lot of these types of investments have a pool of money that will be available to you should you need some form of long-term care. So you'll have an additional pool of money to help care, like my dad, for an example. It would be an absolute life-changing experience for being able to hire a nurse 2 days a week to come in.
Right.
And for that to happen, she's got to use her own investments. If you have some sort of an investment that we can put this rider on, you have that pool of money to help pay for those types of things.
And finally, and this is something that's very overlooked in the financial world, and it's amazing. I've got one of these myself. It's a life insurance policy that lets you use the death benefit while you're here to pay for long-term care, and it's tax-free.
Yeah.
So I've got a $5 million policy myself. So if I have to go to a long-term care facility, or I need someone to come, help me out and those kind of things, I can take out hundreds of thousands of dollars a year out of my death benefit. I've only put in a couple $100,000 into the policy. So you come out very far ahead. It's called a living benefit rider on very good life insurance companies' policies. Many people watching probably have a life insurance policy that doesn't have this benefit, and they're basically committing financial suicide by not finding out about that.
Yeah. You know, they spend their whole lives in the red bucket,
Yeah.
using investments that are good for accumulation, and they're not necessarily aware of investments that are out there for retirement. And the life insurance is one of them. It's not
Yep.
your dad's life policy.
No,
this is
it
a
isn't.
totally different animal. And when we are able to show somebody what we can do for them in retirement, using one of these types of policies, the typical feedback I get is, this is too good to be true.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not.
You know, I've never had anyone complain when I brought, and I've unfortunately had to deliver some of the death benefit checks to folks. I've never had anyone say, well, I didn't want life insurance when I give them $1 million
Exactly.
check. But in the same frame of mind, no one's ever going to complain when I bring them $100,000 checks every year from their life insurance death benefit to pay for that long-term care situations.
That's
so
correct.
it really makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And it's not for everybody. Your most important asset when we're talking about life insurance is your health.
Yep.
If you're not healthy, you might not qualify. But what I like about this is once you're in, they can never kick you out. They can never raise your rates as long as you pay your premiums.
You raise your rates.
Yep.
The money's not gone. If you don't use it,
Yep.
you're whoever
All
you
the
want to leave
things
the money
that were
to.
bad about a traditional long-term
This
care
is-
policy have
takes
been
care of that.
canceled with that.
That's correct.
So folks, if you want to find out about this, really it makes sense. It's part of a financial and retirement plan. If your planner hasn't talked about it, I would really consider that malpractice these days.
I would
so
too.
make sure to get a review and make sure, not only a review of your plan, but let's review your planner. Let's make sure you're on the right path. Call Zach today.